Good afternoon, I'm Tim Behrens with FM 97 State and Local News at 5:32. A commuter tunnel became an inferno this morning near Oakland when a fully laden gas tanker truck collided with an empty bus. A resulting 100-mile-an-hour firestorm incinerated 7 people and melted the truck. 3 people survived.
On April 7, 1982, the San Francisco Bay Area would experience one of its most significant transportation disasters. 7 lives would be lost that evening inside the Caldecott tunnel. Although this event has largely been overshadowed by other things that took place around the same time, it was a really big deal when it happened, and it had nationwide ramifications, and its victims deserve to be remembered. So no one's ever put forward any kind of documentary, any kind of collaborative work on exactly what happened that evening. I'm using all the skills that I have available, all of my online resources like the California Newspaper Database Collectives, newspapers.com, any other sources I can find online to try to put together this story. Because the people that died that evening, they was really remarkable people. And like I said, they really do deserve to be remembered. So this story really starts a few hours earlier. A young woman, 34-year-old JANICE FERRIS, she decides she's gonna go out for the evening and go out looking for Mr. Right. She and a number of other members from her singles meetup group, they're all going to Walnut Creek to get their drink on. And while JANICE is out socializing, she starts to take back a lot of drinks. And hours go on and she's drinking more and more. And she realizes it's time to go home. Nowadays, you're gonna look for your designated driver, you're gonna risk your ass getting a DUI. But this is 1982, and things is a little different back then. So JANICE hops into her 1982 Honda Civic, she gets behind the wheel, she takes off, she gets on Highway 24, she starts heading home, and she's headed right to the Caldecott Tunnel, right to destiny. She's almost home too, she only got another 15 minutes past the Caldecott Tunnel, she's gonna be at her house. But she drunk, she real drunk, and she fucks up bad. JANICE somehow manages to completely lose control of her fucking vehicle. She slams into one curb and she goes completely the other lane and slams into the other. She ends up in the fast lane, broke down with one of her tires blown out. JANICE is drunk. She's already made one big mistake. She decides to make another. She gets out of her vehicle in the middle of the tunnel to inspect the damage. Other vehicles are entering the tunnel. The next 2 vehicles to enter, the first one is an oil tanker, completely full with gasoline, 9,000 gallons of it, driven by Mervyn Lee Metzger. Metzger's doing everything right. He's following all the rules. He's driving under the speed limit. He's sober. He's completely legit. Behind him is a minibus driven by John Dykes Jr. John Dykes Jr. is a Vietnam veteran, and he just finished his shift. He's a bus driver. He picks people up from their carpools, and he just wants to get home. So Metzger's driving his oil tanker. He's going nice and slow through the tunnel, and John Dykes wants to get past him so he can get home. John Dykes is going above the speed limit, and he makes a terrible mistake. He can't see over his left side because he got that big oil tanker in front of him. The oil tanker's coming up on the accident, so it's slowing down. As he's slowing down, the bus decides to hit the left lane and speed up. The bus driver, John Dykes Jr., has no idea there's a stalled out vehicle in the left-hand lane. And as he makes that turn, he discovers it way too late. It must have been a real shock to him when he got over there and he seen some stupid drunk bitch stand in the middle of the fucking highway with her car broke down. And my man immediately tried to swerve back over, but it's too fucking late now. Because as he was making that left, getting in the left-hand lane, he's speeding up just as Metzger's slowing down. So now when he tries to swerve back over, he can't because the truck's there. So he slams in the oil tanker and he still hits her in her car. And needless to say, the impact of a speeding bus hitting a drunk woman standing in the middle of the highway is intense. She is immediately killed and thrown from the accident. John Dykes is also thrown from his vehicle. He's thrown far from it too. The impact of hitting that oil truck and hitting her car is intense. They don't even know exactly what direction he was thrown out of the vehicle. They just know he was thrown out. And that bus ain't gonna stop. The bus keeps going. It goes another quarter mile or so before it hits into this right here. So either way, if my man wasn't thrown out that vehicle, he definitely would have been killed when he smashed into that. It's tragic, man. He was just trying to get home to see his woman too. But when he swerved to try to avoid the drunk woman in the middle of the road and he smashed that oil tanker, he hit it hard blood. That oil tanker hit the wall of the tunnel, and from hitting the truck, it scraped both sides. He pulls his vehicle over from impact, he gets out to inspect the damage. He can see gas just gushing out both sides. That 9,000 gallons of oil's coming out. Gasoline's coming out everywhere, blood. He's got moments to decide what to do. All the training he has, a truck driver tells him exactly what he's going to do in this situation. He knows which way the wind's blowing, so he runs the opposite direction. It was a decision that would save his life. Because just around the corner, a guy working inside the closed circuit television operating booth, he's seen what happened on the TV and he comes out to help. As soon as he opens that door, he sees this cowboy, Mervyn Lee Metzger, the truck driver, coming right at him. So he opens that door, he brings him inside, they close it, and they're going to survive this. But as all this was happening, more vehicles are entering the tunnel. The next vehicle directly behind them was a beer truck driven by Everett Kidney out of Los Angeles. Every one of the most interesting people out of all these people in this, all the victims in this case. Because although he's a beer truck driver now, he used to be a bank robber. My man Everett, he was a bank robber and a safe cracker. He eventually got caught, got sent to prison, did his time and turned his life around, and now he was a legit, hardworking guy. He had a young man with him in the vehicle, some guy from a local neighborhood. He was trying to show him around, trying to show him how to do the beer truck, trying to get him a job, trying to get him going in life. His passenger's name was Melvin Young, and that's almost all we know about him. Immediately following the beer truck is June and Stephen Rutledge. They're just making the commute all the way back from Carson City, Nevada. They were 5 minutes from home. Right after them was an elderly couple, George and Catherine Lenz. And these people lived amazing lives. George Lenz was a decipherer of Japanese Imperial Code in World War II. Catherine was straight taken prisoner by the Japanese in Hong Kong. She's an American citizen. And she actually survived a prisoner exchange they had take place in Goa, India, aboard the Teo Maru. And it's interesting as hell because before I started researching this, I had no idea they even did prisoner exchanges in World War II. But they did, blood. If you was like a Japanese businessman or something like that, they would exchange you to go home. Anyway, this elderly couple was really remarkable because what they did. They decided to turn their vehicle sideways to prevent other people from going inside the tunnel, and they likely saved countless lives by doing so. But this selfless act would result in both of their own deaths because they would not survive this. They would be overtaken by smoke and then killed by flames. So back to the actual crash at hand. So we got June and Stephen Rutledge, and we got Melvin Young and Everett Kidney. They all right there at the front scene of it happening. They didn't realize it, but they only had moments to react. They had very limited time to survive this. And if they wanted to get out, they had to get out now. Unfortunately, they didn't. June Rutledge, she goes to the call box to call for help. She tells her son to start warning other passengers coming in the tunnel to get out. Eyewitnesses seen the beer truck. They seen Everett's leg pop out the beer truck like he was going to get out and make a run for it. But he hesitated. He put his leg back in, he closed that door. And it was a decision that would cost him his life. Because at this moment, while June's on the phone trying to call for help and Steven's running backwards, warning other cars to get out of the tunnel, it happened, bro. It happened. That gas lit. One of them fires that was going on the side finally caught onto that main line of gasoline, and kaboom! That whole motherfucking tunnel went up. And you can just imagine where it's gonna go. You in a tunnel, that flame can't go up, it can only go out. So everybody in his path is gonna get hit with it. And according to firemen, it was 2,000 degrees. Eyewitnesses said they seen fireballs shooting hundreds of feet into the sky on both ends coming out. There were something like a series, like a dozen fireballs come out this thing one by one. What's the most fucked up part about it though, is that guy Steven, he turned back at that exact moment in time to watch his own mother get consumed by a fucking fireball, blood. He watched his mother get killed by fire. It was 4 hours later before they could get that thing under wraps enough. And sometime later they allowed reporters and news people come in, and they was astonished what they seen. The victims were all incinerated inside their cars. There was just skeletons left of them. Somehow they was able to retrieve, I don't know how they did it, how they got the blood alcohol content off Janice, but they did. Janice had a 0.17, 0.1 blood alcohol content level, which is pretty damn high. That means you're pretty good. As much as you and I would like to get angry at Janice, she wasn't a bad person. She did something really stupid, blood. She cost the lives of 6 other people, but everyone she knew and worked with loved her. And the morning after, her parents didn't receive their daily phone call from her. Janice called her parents every morning, and her mother and father immediately knew something terrible had happened. Mervyn Lee Metzger, the driver of the truck, I believe he's still alive. He's an old man, he lives in Arizona to this day. George and Catherine Lenz were survived by their son, Tom Lenz. It's the holiday season right now. A lot of people is deciding to drink and drive. Big mistake. Don't do it right now, man. It's the worst time of the year for that shit. You real likely to go to jail or cause a serious accident. So 6 lives were lost because one terrible decision was made. So think about that this holiday season. Don't drink and drive, Blade. Too many lives are at stake. Just want to give a shout out to Nate Smith, Mindy Red, all the rest of you motherfuckers. Thank you. Have a great holiday season. Don't fucking drink and drive, man, for real. Next time I'm gonna cover the Trans-Bay tunnel system. I don't know if you heard of that before, but there was a disaster that took place in there in 1979 and 40 people almost lost their lives. People did die. They literally died underneath the ocean in them tunnels. It's a story that needs to be told. There's nothing about it online, so I'm gonna give it my best, so I hope you watch.
Romans, it was put on their diet was to eat mice. It's a strange little thing, those baby mice, little pink little things. They're cute, really, though. There's nothing wrong with them.